Do you know when worries like to attack the most? At night. And that is why bedtime is hard time for anxious kids. I'm going to tell you how to fix that and get a good night's sleep. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Child Therapist Kids Edition. I'm Natasha Daniels, a child therapist, and I make videos for kids with anxiety and OCD to make life a little bit better. If you like videos on how to help with your anxiety or OCD, give it a thumbs up. So today I want to talk to you about how to deal with nighttime fears. Now, nighttime fears is not an age thing, and so it is not something to be embarrassed about, because I see kids in my practice of all ages who are afraid to go to bed at night. And there are even adults who are afraid to go to bed at night. So this is not a baby problem. This is an anxiety problem. Let's talk about how to get some sleep. Now, for starters, we have to figure out what your core fear is. You know, I talk a lot about core fears if you watch any of my other videos. We have to figure out what your fear is around bedtime. Because even though being afraid at bedtime is really common, the reason is different for different kids. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen at night? Put a comment below. What's the worst thing that can happen to you at night? What is your fear? Are you afraid that something bad can happen to you? Are you afraid of your thoughts that happen at night? Are you filled with tons of thoughts that are going on? Does your room freak you out? Or are you afraid that something bad can happen to your mom if you can't see or be with her? So it's different for each kid. And depending on what your anxiety theme is in general or your OCD theme, that's going to pop up at nighttime. So you have to deal with your core fear before you can deal with getting a better night's sleep. So if you are afraid that something bad's going to happen to you, then you have to fight that. You have to fight that, what I call red thought with a green thought. And I go all into that when I talk about that in my video about how to tackle anxious thoughts. And I talk about red thoughts and green thoughts and snowball thoughts. And watch that video because I can't go into it every single time I talk to you. But you need to tackle your thoughts, because if you just let your thoughts bully you, oh my gosh, something bad's going to happen to me, or something bad's going to happen to my mom, or I'm going to feel sick at night, or I'm going to have all these thoughts about, these intrusive thoughts about what happened during the day. Whatever it is, if you don't deal with that, then you're not going to be able to relax and get a good night's sleep. So you want to tackle your thoughts. Second, look around your room. Are there things in your room that are freaking you out? Surprisingly, the answer often in my practice is yes. And I don't know why, but a lot of kids, they'll be freaked out by something in their room, but they won't remove it. I kind of don't understand that. So is there something in your room that's freaking you out? Go in your room at night with your mom or your dad, turn the lights off, and look at your room. Are there shadows that are freaking you out? Are there dolls or clothes that look like something else at night? Fix that. And even if it's something that you love during the day, remove it from your room so it doesn't freak you out at night. Once your room looks relatively safe and you're not seeing anything scary, we want to work on making your room a cozy space. And so I normally talk about doing a couple things. First of all, a lot of people need light. Now, some parents don't like their kids to have too much light in their room, but if darkness is freaking you out, then you might need more light than not. And I know that can kind of make you a little bit more alert, but it does also calm kids. So talk to your mom and dad about the light in your room. Is your night light not good enough? Does your night light shine and cast too many shadows in your room? Do you need a better night light? Do you like the hall light on? Discuss this with your parents, because lighting is incredibly important for anxious kids. I am an anxious person, and when my husband's not home, I can't sleep in the dark. True story. So I have to have the bathroom light on so I can see things in the dark. I'm a grown woman and I still have to do that. That's okay, because I feel better with the light on. Also, sometimes at night, you might worry about things. You might worry about your closet or under your bed, or something might freak you out. before you go to sleep, and especially if you don't have OCD, go check. Go check your closet. Does your closet look okay? There's no one in it. Go look under your bed. Get a flashlight. Nothing under your bed. Make sure that you feel completely relaxed. And that way, when your anxiety is like, maybe there's somebody under your bed, you can say, yeah, maybe not, because I already checked and there is nothing. So I am safe. So you want to make sure that you have good light and that you've checked things that maybe make you nervous before you go to sleep. Second is noise. Now, noise really freaks people out because when you're anxious and you're lying in bed and it's dark and it's quiet, we hear everything. That's when we notice, hey, the ice maker makes a weird noise. But instead of saying, hey, the ice maker makes a weird noise, we're like, oh, what was that? Was that somebody downstairs? Is somebody in the house? Instead, I want you to play detective. When you hear a noise, I want you to say to yourself, okay, that was scary, but what could that be? Maybe my mom's walking around. Maybe the dog's walking around. Hey, you know what? I think I've heard that sound before. That sounds like maybe the ice maker. If you want, and if noises really, really freak you out, close your eyes during the day and listen to all the sounds of your house, because houses make sounds. Refrigerators make sounds. Dishwashers make sounds. Houses creak. Houses make sounds. Listen and learn the sounds of your house. Close your eyes during the day and be aware of them. Become aware of them. Pay attention to them. And then when you go to sleep at night, ask yourself, what could that be? Besides this horrible thing that my anxiety is telling me it is, it's some really, really scary thing, what else could it be? Play detective, look around, and figure out, what was that sound? Now, if you want to be super brave, get out of bed and say, I'm going to go figure out what that sound was. What was that? And you can say to your mom, I'm going to be brave. I heard a sound. I want to figure out what that is. And maybe your mom can help you. But I like that you play detective and you figure out what sounds are so that you beat your anxiety. So your red thought would be, oh my gosh, I don't know what that was. That probably is something really horrific, horrible happening. And your green thought would be, you know what? I am going to go figure out what that was. It's just my mom. It's totally fine. The other thing that you can do with sounds is have a sound machine in your room. A sound machine is just a fancy name for something that kind of gives off some white noise. White noise is sound that just basically cancels out other sounds and makes you not as aware of sounds around your house. Also, I like guided imagery. So guided imagery is like just somebody telling you a story, but it's meant to calm you down. And I will leave links below to sound machines and some guided imagery that my kids like. And they just relax and I put it on their iPad and they listen to these quiet stories and it relaxes them and it gives their mind something else to think about, but it also tunes out any other sounds, which is really helpful. Now that brings me into the third thing, which is your mind, your biggest enemy at night. So we've already dealt with the darkness, we've dealt with the sounds, and now we have to talk about where your mind is. Because a big part of why nighttime is so hard for anxious people in general, not just kids, but everybody, is because we have no distractions. So there's nothing around us that is giving us something else to think about other than all of our fears. So at nighttime, even if we're not worried about the sights and sounds around us, we might have some internal fears. So we might be like, why did we say that today? That was dumb. Or we might be like, gosh, I have a test tomorrow. That's really, really making me nervous. Or if we have OCD, we might have all of our intrusive thoughts that are going to come when it's really quiet. So you want to get your mind busy. So there's two ways that I recommend that you do this. One is the guided imagery that I'm going to leave a link below. So having somebody tell you a story or guided meditation, it can totally get your mind away. Or if you like to listen to music, I personally find that music doesn't get my mind completely away. And so I like a story because then I'm like wrapped up in the story. And there's tons of them out there. You don't want your mom to sit with you and tell you a story because we're going to talk about this in a minute, but we don't want to be so dependent on our mom to put us to sleep. So guided imagery, or if you're really creative and you can eventually do this, you can create a world in your head. And so my kids have a candy land and a pet land. I have like an ocean fish land. And I did a whole YouTube video on how to create a world in your head. I didn't make it for kids, I made it for parents, but you're parents and you can watch it, and I'll leave a link up here. So you can watch this video and create a world in your head. That way, every time you go to sleep, you can kind of bring up your world and relax. Now, another thing to do besides the darkness and sound and your mind is smell. So smell can actually really help calm you. And lavender is a very calming smell. I like vanilla, not too big on the lavender, but you can get some spray it on your pillow, and the smell will actually be very relaxing too. Okay, so once your room is totally set up, you have dealt with the darkness, you have dealt with the sound, you have dealt with your brain, you have dealt with your nose and the smell. Now it's up to you. And so we have to talk about your mom, because if you have sleep problems, you also have probably a parent problem, because you think that you can't go to bed unless your mom is right there with you. And you think you can't go to bed unless your mom keeps you safe. How does she know that? Because you're like everybody else. So it's not an age thing. If you're anxious, this is probably what your evening looks like. Mom, where are you going? Can you lay with me for a little bit? Hey, Mom, can you rub my head? Mom, can you go to bed with me? Mom, can I lay in your bed? Mom, can you just fall asleep with me? Will you check on me? Can't I just sleep with you? Mom, are you checking on me? Can I sleep near you? Can you come back in 10 minutes? Mom, can you come back in a little while? Will you come back and check on me? Can you come back in 15 minutes? Does that sound familiar? I'm not hiding in your house. This is how kids sound because they're nervous and they're anxious, and I totally get that. And honestly, parents sometimes get frustrated. And I have done this myself with my kids where I'm just like, go to bed, go to sleep. But I know that it is really hard for you. So I do have a video for parents and different approaches they can do to help you go to sleep. And I'll leave a link to the video up here for your mom and dad. But I want to talk to you because you have to fight back and feel empowered, because the more you avoid, do you know what I'm going to say? If you've listened to any of my videos, you know what I'm going to say. The more your anxiety grows. It's like my slogan. The more you avoid, the bigger your anxiety grows. So if you lay with your mom and fall asleep with your mom right there, guess what your brain does? Your brain's last memory is of being safe and having your mom all cozy with you. So when you wake up in the middle of the night and your mom's not there, guess what's going to happen? You're going to freak out. You're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, where's my mom? Where's my mom? Where's my mom? Where's my mom? And guess where you're going to go? To your mom's room. Because that's what you want, because you only feel safe with your mom. Your mom doesn't make you safe. Your mom has no magic fairy dust that is keeping you safe at night. So you need to remind yourself of that. I always tell my kids, what do you need to tell yourself? And they say, we are all safe in this house. I do not keep them safe. I don't need to go check on them because they are safe. What's happening to them? Why do I have to check on them when they're laying in their cozy, protective, safe bed? Your parent doesn't have to check on you. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to go in and give your kid an extra kiss before you go to bed, but they don't need to do that to keep you safe. Your parents aren't keeping you safe. You are safe. There's nothing bad that's going to happen to you in your house. Your house is a safe place for you and your family. And when you believe the lie that your anxiety is selling that says you're not safe unless you're right there with your mom is not safe unless she's right there with you, whatever your anxiety wants to lie, or you're going to feel sick unless your mom is right there, is just that. It's a lie. And when you believe it and you feed it, we talked about like it being a little dog and you're like, here, come here. I'm going to feed it little doggy treats. Then it's going to grow bigger. So you don't want your mom to sit and lay with you. And you want to get empowered and say, you know what, I can do this. I got this. And you're going to have to do it in small steps because it's okay. It's okay that this is going to be hard. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm not asking for it to happen overnight. I get that this is a struggle for you, and that is okay. So do little baby steps. Start small, and then it will grow bigger. So if your mom is sleeping with you, then you just start with maybe your mom will sit in your door frame and she'll wait until you're comfortable and maybe you're half asleep and then she'll leave. Do small steps and they will lead into bigger steps as you go. So each one of you is going to be in a different situation. Some of you might be sleeping with your mom and dad. Some of you might be having your mom sleep with you. Some of you maybe have to lay down and your mom has to lay down with you and rub your head until you fall asleep. And some of you maybe have to have your mom just check on you multiple times a night. It depends on where you're at with your anxiety. Everybody is in a different place. But what you want to do is you want to start asking yourself, how can I move a little bit into independence? How can I do something for myself? Because I have worked with people in their 20s and they are still sleeping with their mom and dad. I swear, it's true. This does not go away because this is not a kid problem. This is not a baby problem. This is an anxiety problem. So don't think that you're going to grow out of this. And parents will make this mistake too. They'll say, she's going to grow out of this. I mean, she's not going to be in college and want to sleep with me. Yeah, actually she is. Because kids, if they don't learn to fight their fears, those fears don't go away. They stay with them into adulthood. And so you want to start learning how to fight your fears and not be dependent on your mom to make you feel better. And I'm saying mom, even though it could be your dad, because most of the time it tends to be the mom, but not always. So maybe you want to ask your parents to set up a challenge and say, let's do a challenge. If I stay in my bed for blah, 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 it depends on where you're at. So if you're in your mom's bed, the challenge is going to look different than if your mom is sitting maybe in your doorway until you fall asleep. But every night, do a challenge. Maybe pick a goal each week and say, for this week, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. So that might look different for each person. If you're sleeping in your mom's bed, it might mean that you're going to sleep next to her bed for a little while. If your mom is laying down with you at night until you fall asleep, maybe the challenge would be that she's going to leave while you're still awake, which actually is a really good thing. You don't want to have your mom in there when you fall asleep because then you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and you are going to freak out. So set up a challenge, and then I like to do something fun because I think things should be fun, and I set up challenge prize boxes. So for my kids, we'll set up a challenge at night, and I'll say, like, if you can go all night without waking me up in the middle of the night, because that's where we're at my house, then you can earn a prize from the prize box. So they wake up in the morning, and they haven't woken me up all night, and they have been able to go back to bed and comfort themselves if their anxiety is bothering them, and they earn a prize. So develop challenges with your parents and start to tackle your fear of bedtime. I know bedtime is a really, really, really tough issue. I hope that gave you some ideas on how to start fighting back. Kids have some of the best suggestions. In fact, a lot of my ideas come from kids directly who have great ideas that help their own anxiety. So do you have a tip for other kids? What do you do at night that maybe helps you? Leave a comment below and share with other people what is your best nighttime tip. I hope you're enjoying my videos. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like them and subscribe because I'll be coming out with new videos every Thursday and you don't want to miss them. I hope you find the sparkle in everything you do. Until next time, take care.